this hairstyle you can actually see that I'm balding on one side of my head, so I'm gonna take it off. Okay, that's better. Hey everyone, it's Mafalda and welcome to the mid-year book freakout tag. So it is finally June. It's finally time for the mid-year book freakout tag. I think last year I did it pretty late, so I'm proud of myself for remembering this time to do this tag in June. I love this tag. It has been around for ages and I love watching these videos from everyone else in the community. And it's also a nice way to like kind of check in with your reading and be like, okay, I'm on the right path. I still need to read these books. I loved all my readings until now. And yeah, I love this tag, so let's just get started. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2021. And for this one, I don't have a definitive answer yet, but I have a couple of answers that I could give. So the first one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. I adored this book. I know this is a very dividing book. A lot of people don't like it, but I just really liked the vibes of the book and I just liked the message of the story and the way it ended and everything. So this is definitely one of those favorites. Then I also have a new like recent favorite, and this one, even though I didn't give it a full 5 stars, I gave it 4.5 stars. It's just one of those books that means so much to me that I just know it's going to end up in my favorites list. And it's Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. And this book is just, like I said, it means a lot to me. This book talks a lot about biphobia and bi erasure because the main character is bisexual, and it just means a lot to me, so it's obviously one of my favorites of this year. Then a book that I've been talking about non-stop since the beginning of the year, and it's Digg by A.S. King. I never thought I would like this book this much. I don't know, like halfway through the book I was like, what the fuck is going on? What is this book? And then by the end I was just like, yeah, 5 stars, new favorite. I love A.S. King. I need to read everything by her. I know there's another question in this tag which is the biggest surprise of the year, and I already have some answers for that question, but this one could count as well as a big surprise of 2021 because I just went in with no expectations whatsoever, and halfway through the book I was confused as hell and I was like, what the fuck am I reading? But then by the end I was just like, this is the best book I've read so far, and I love it, and I love everything that it talks about, and I love how perfectly it all ties in at the end, and I can't. This was my first 5-star of the year, and I just love it. I love all the weirdness, and I'm here for it, so. And the last favorite that I have to mention is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. I feel like this is a booktube favorite for a while now. Like, people have read this one so long ago. I'm literally the last person to read this book, but it just broke me and I was sobbing at the end. This book means so much to me, and honestly, if I had to pick one favorite out of these 4, I would probably pick this one. This is probably, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is my favorite book of the year so far. But I just wanted to mention the other ones because it could change. I don't know what will happen, but it could change. And yeah, this is definitely my favorite book of the year so far, and I'm so glad that I finally read it. Now the next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2021. And as of right now, I've read 76 books, I think 75 or 76 books, and I literally checked all the books that I've read so far, and I haven't read a single sequel this year. Like, no sequel, no third book in a series, like nothing. I've only started series. Oh, the shame, the shame. But I am reading a sequel right now, and even though I'm still in the beginning, I'm gonna count as my favorite sequel so far because it's the only one that I picked up, and it's Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. I am 50 pages into the book, but this is literally the only sequel that I've picked up this year, so I'll have to make do with this one. I need to read more sequels and continue with more series, and I've made a video about that and everything, and I just, like, this was a wake-up call. Like, not having an answer for this question was a wake-up call to just start reading more series and not start new ones because it's a problem. Now the next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and I honestly still can't believe I haven't picked up this book, but it's Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. I was so excited for this book and I still haven't picked it up for no reason at all. I've had it on my shelves for like a few months now and I just need to pick it up. I'll probably pick it up next month in July. And yeah, this was literally my most anticipated book of this year. Why haven't I read it yet? I don't know. But I always read Angie Thomas's books in the summer, so it just makes sense that I'll pick it up in July. So yeah, those are my plans at least. Now the next question is my most anticipated release for the second half of the year of 2021. And for this one, I have a couple of options, but the one that I'm most excited about is Act Cool by Tobey McSmith, because I read Stay Gold last year and I loved it, and I just want to read more by this author. The cover is absolutely gorgeous, even though it doesn't match my cover of Stay Gold because they have new designs, which I'm kind of sad about, but I just love the cover. It's coming out on September 7th, and the only thing that I know about the book is that it features a trans boy, like that is the main character. That's the only thing I know, but I'm still super excited because I loved Stay Gold, so yeah. Now the next question is my biggest disappointment of the year so far, and this may come as a surprise because I know that a lot of people love this book. I know that a lot of people give 5 stars to this book and it's their favorite book ever, but I think it's also a very dividing book. I feel like people either give it 5 stars or 2 stars or 1 star, and I'm one of the people who gave it a 2 star, and it's Normal People by Sally Rooney. I really thought I was going to like this book, but it was just boring. I didn't care for the characters at all. I thought they were super, like, I don't even know, like pretentious and kind of romanticized, and I just didn't vibe with the story at all. I was just bored reading this book, to be honest, and please don't be offended if this is your favorite book, because I know that a lot of people love it, but it just, I guess, didn't vibe with me. I don't know, it was just weird because I really thought I was going to like this one, but I just didn't, so yeah. Now the next question is my biggest surprise of the year so far, and I have 2 answers for this one, and honestly I could come up with more, like for example Digg is also a big surprise of the year, but for this one I'm going with Butterfly Yellow by Tana Haley, and I picked this one up on a whim. I had never heard anyone talk about this book on BookTube or anywhere else, to be honest. I just saw that Elizabeth Acevedo, she has a quote right here about the book saying like a lot of great things, and also it said somewhere that this book was for fans of Elizabeth Acevedo. Like if you like Elizabeth Acevedo books, you're probably going to like this book, Butterfly Yellow, and I love Elizabeth Acevedo. She's probably one of my favorite YA writers, and so I just picked it up on a whim. It was just like literally out of nowhere, and I got really surprised by this book. I think the story is beautiful. I love the writing, and this book is set after the Vietnam War, and 2 siblings are in the airport trying to get to the United States and trying to find a home in the United States, but then they get separated, and then a couple of years later Lynn, who is the main character, goes to the United States, to Texas, to try and find her brother who supposedly is there. And this is a beautiful story about family, about what war does to people and what it does to families, and it's just heartbreaking and beautiful, and I just adored this one. It's not the best book ever by any means, but it just really surprised me because I had no expectations whatsoever, because I had never heard of anyone talk about this one. So yeah, this is one of the biggest surprises of this year. And the other one that I wanted to mention, I unfortunately don't have it physically with me, but I desperately need to buy it because I had an arc for it, and that's how I read it, and it's Nubia Real One by L.L. McKinney. And honestly, I just picked this one up on a whim because I knew that it was about a superhero because it's a DC comic, and the cover just seemed super cool, so I just decided to request it on a whim, and then I got it, and then I read it, and I fell in love. It's probably one of my favorite graphic novels ever, or comic books, and honestly it's criminally underrated. I have seen 1 or 2 people talk about it. The book came out in February, I think, and it just deserves so much more hype because the illustrations are incredible. I would honestly hang some of the illustrations on my fucking wall because it's just so beautiful and breathtaking. And yeah, it's just a great story. I love Nubia as a superhero, and I really hope it gets picked up to have more volumes of Nubia because I just absolutely adored it, and I want to know more about Nubia and her friends. If you haven't picked it up go pick it up because it's so worth it. It discusses so many important topics, and Nubia is a badass, and the illustrations gorgeous, and please pick it up. Please, 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 please. That was also one of my biggest surprises of the year, because with arcs I try to keep my expectations very low, to be honest, because you never know, it may be like the biggest book ever, but it also can be such a flop. And yeah, this one just, it was amazing. I give it 5 stars right off the bat, and it was great, so pick it up. Now the next question is new favorite author. It can either be a debut author or just new to you, and these two are actually new to me, and I've already mentioned them, but it's Ashley Herring Blake from Girl Made of Stars and A.S. King from Digg. I loved both of these books, like I've already mentioned, and I just want to read all of their backlists, to be honest. I've been trying to get all of their books so I can finally read them, because I know that I've been missing out on their work just based off of these two. And yeah, I'm super excited to read more of A.S. King and Ashley Herring Blake. I've heard so many great things about their other books, so yeah, these two. Now the next question is newest fictional crush, and honestly, I'm not gonna answer this question because I just don't crush that easily on characters. Like, I don't know what it is. I also mentioned this one on my last year's mid-year book for Caltag. I just don't do that, so I'm not gonna answer this one. I'm just gonna skip. Now the next question is newest favorite character, and for this one I am going with Vivek Koji from Detective Vivek Koji by Kweki Emezi. I don't have the book with me, so I just have the dust jacket. I actually did a paper for school on Vivek Koji and on this book, and that's how, like, I already liked Vivek Koji and I already loved this book, but I just fell in love even more with the character of Vivek Koji and everything that he goes through in this book. With that paper, like, having written that paper made me fall in love with the character more, I guess. Vivek Koji is such a complex character, and I just loved learning more about him and seeing how amazing he is all throughout the book. And yeah, if you haven't read this book, by the way, please read it because it's so good. Now the next question is a book that made you cry, and I don't want to start repeating answers, but I guess I just have to, because honestly, when a book makes me cry, it just instantly becomes a favorite, to be honest. And I'm gonna say Girl Made of Stars yet again, because this book was probably the one that made me cry the most this year. I just was a mess at the end. Then I also have a book that I read more recently, which is Felix Ever After. I read this one a couple of weeks ago, and I was also sobbing by the end, because if you know, you know, this book is just beautiful and I loved it so much. And then I also have Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. Again, I love this one. It made me cry because it just means so much to me. And yeah, I didn't want to repeat answers, but I had to, I guess. And then the next question is a book that made you happy. And for this one, I'm going with Once Upon an Eid. This one I read as an audiobook, and it's edited by S.K. Ali, if I'm not mistaken. And I desperately need this book in my life because it just made me so happy. It also made me tear up sometimes because this is a collection of short stories about Eid, and first of all, I learned so much, and then it just made my heart happy but also sad sometimes. It just really depended on the story, but overall it was just a cute, fun read about Eid and about the joys of Eid and about community, and it was great, amazing. The next question is most beautiful book you bought so far this year or received, and for this one I have 3 answers, and 2 of them were gifts. And first of all, I have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, this beautiful edition illustrated by Camille Rose Garcia, and this was a gift from Casey, and I just love the illustrations of this book, and I just think this book is absolutely gorgeous and it needs to be displayed. When I finally read it, I need to display it on my shelf somehow. And then also another gift was this edition of Little Women, which is the movie edition of the book. I love the feel of this book because I love the look of old books like this, but at the same time I don't really like the smell of old books, so this is perfect because this is a new book with an old feel, and it's also one of my favorite classics, and I just absolutely adore this one so much, and it reminds me of the movie, which I love, and this is one of my most prized possessions. Honestly, I just love this one so much. And then for a book that wasn't a gift and I actually bought myself, I have The Last True Poets of the Sea by Julia Drake, and this was an instant cover buy. I love this cover so much. I love the colors and the gradient and the letters, and I just absolutely adored this one, and I just bought it for the cover, to be honest. So yeah, I'm excited to read this one as well when I get to it. And now finally, the last question of the tag is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And honestly, I would mention the 50 plus books that I have on my physical TBR right here, but I just picked 4 books that I really want to read this year to prioritize, I guess, and I have them here. So first I have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This one I mentioned in one of my videos that I really wanted to read this year. Then I also have The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, and this one was also in that video that I really wanted to read this year. So these two are on a video, so I really need to get to them. And actually no, this one, Becoming by Michelle Obama, was also in that video. So these 3 are in that video of 5 books that I want to read in 2021. So I think I need to get to them, I guess. And then one that I also really want to read that I've had on my TBR for so long is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo. Just gonna show the covers because I'm not showing the covers. So The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, Becoming by Michelle Obama, and finally Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. I've heard so many great things about all of these 4 books, and I just honestly, I haven't picked them up because I'm kind of terrified of all of them because they're all big and dense, but I just, nevertheless, I really want to read them this year, so I'll make a case of doing so. And yeah, that is my mid-year book freakout tag. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, if you have a booktube channel, don't forget to do this tag because last year I think I did mine in like, I don't even know, like October or something. I did it pretty late because I completely forgot. But yeah, don't forget to do this tag. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you haven't, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!